Hey, Succeed here, founder of Stridus.com. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to create effective content. I'm not going to talk you through what's trending right now. So for example, at the time of filming this, Instagram Reels are all the rage. Because what most people do is they forget about the content and just jump on a trend and hope that being cool with, video templates or presets or funny captions will overcome the fact that their content is garbage. It doesn't. So I'm going to walk you through the most important piece, creating content that reaches more people, teaches more people, and gets you more clients. It is a long training, but if you care about growing your business and helping more people, then you'll watch it. It's an in-depth presentation that was actually delivered for our paying users, and today you get access to it for free. If you want access to more trainings like this for free, there's a document that you can access below this video that walks you through 17 different ways to get 5 to 10 clients every single week. So if you're looking to grow an online fitness or nutrition business, just click the link in the description of this video and you'll be able to access that document for free. So without further ado, click subscribe, like this video, grab that document, and then let's dive into this content training. So what is the goal of each piece of content? You should be aware of the goal of each piece of content that you create, or the outcome that you're hoping to achieve or attempt, or even testing, right? But there should be an outcome or the goal that you are trying to create or test to see if it's going to create. Do you want it to be shared to help you reach more people? Is it valuable and you want to deepen the trust and relationship with your audience? And just to go back, do you want it to be shared to help reach more people? Often that type of content also helps you re-engage a larger section of your own existing audience. And then that has a kind of knock-on effect so that your next post is shown to more of your own audience, never mind reaching more people. Is it valuable and you want to deepen the trust and relationship with your existing audience? Further position yourself as an expert, an authority, show them that you have understanding, insights, experience that can really help them. Or is it just a call to action post? Is the primary goal just to generate clients? Is it more than one of those? Often it is. Here are some common mistakes that people make, and I've actually probably missed out the most important, and that is creating content with no outcome in mind. And in fact, often creating just educational content and hoping that people buy and find you based on that. So it's number one is, not having outcomes in mind. Number two is just like not playing the game of social media. Social media platforms don't really hide what they want people to do. They want people to spend more time on their platforms. Can you help the platform can you create content that encourages people to spend longer on the app? If so, great, you're playing the game. Again, if you're just, being hyper educational, purely educational, you're probably not. Which kind of brings me on to my next point, over-educating and then wondering why fewer and fewer people are taking action when you launch or push for new clients. So if you purely just post educational, super specific, super educational content all the time, your engagement will probably drop to your existing audience. You likely won't reach new people. And then every time you do, let's say, do a big push for clients or launch, you go into a smaller pool of people that are engaging with your content and you aren't bringing new people in. So, diminishing returns on those posts. There's a saying, followers don't pay the bills, likes and comments don't pay the bills. That's true, but there's definitely no harm in reaching, influencing, and trying to impact more people and giving your existing users an insight into your opinions and personality. And again, just because I don't want to make this all about, getting more followers, your existing audience needs to see all three types of content from you as well. So creating content with, let's say, the outcome that we're trying to achieve is more shares. It's not just the fact that helps you reach more people. It re-engages your existing audience or engages them further. And then, because you're playing the game and you're keeping people on the app, Instagram rewards you with and more visibility in your followers' newsfeed so that, they see your next post, and maybe your next post is a call to action, or maybe it's something really educational that will really help them. So here are the examples of the 3 different types of content that you will see being created, or these are kind of the buckets that I've put them in. But once you see this pattern, you'll see it amongst all your favorite creators. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples of them in a minute. But I thought I'd start with an example from me because obviously I can share my insights with you. I don't have access to other people's insights. So I'll explain how to create, or what are the features of each type of these outcome-based, or how we achieve each outcome in a moment. But right now I'm just going to go through the examples. So here's an example of a post that I created because I wanted to reach more people. I wanted more engagement, basically. Reach more people, more shares, more engagement, re-engage my existing audience. And I kind of achieved that, right? And here you see 749 shares, which is a good outcome. What you'll also see is that sometimes content will tick more than one box, right? So it also got 417 saves, which makes me think people found it somewhat valuable and educational. It wasn't the goal. I did not, I wanted to help people in the moment, but I knew it was never going to transform someone's business unless it really inspired them. I create this content because yes, it's helpful, it's nice, but it's not hyper valuable, not as valuable as this one, which we'll move on to in a moment. But I knew it'd get a lot of shares, and I'll explain why this got a lot of shares in a moment. I created this educational piece, purely educational, very specific, with one kind of goal, right? A few kind of goals. Position myself as an expert, show that I know what I'm talking about, share my expertise, help people, educate, add value. And again, these are just successful examples, which I'll touch on in a moment. It did that. It got 761 saves, but as you'll see, 0 shares. But that's okay, because it wasn't my goal. My goal was to educate people and give them something that is actionable as well, that they could kind of put to use right away. And that's, it ticked that box. It got 761 saves, which is the insight, the social media platform actually gives you the insights that they care about. So you should care about them as well. It got the insight, or it got a lot of saves, the single insight that I was hoping to achieve. Very few, 0 shares. I'll be surprised if that's true, but I would have thought it would have still got a copy, but maybe, a couple, but maybe not. And then ask. Here's just a call to action post. So this one is a screenshot of a tweet. This one is a screenshot of a tweet, but not really, because I created it on Canva. And this one is a carousel post. The media type is unimportant, right? Everyone focuses on the media type, and it's frustrating to me, because it's probably the least important thing here. Don't get me wrong, all else being equal, like if you were unbelievable at any type of media type, then right now at the time of teaching this, at the time of recording this training, then for Instagram, Reels probably would perform better. But I care more about creating the right kind of content than the media type it's in. And I'll show you, the next few examples again are people using different types of media. So reels, videos, images of them, whatever. So this is a call to action post. This was a carousel. As you can see, the engagement is so low compared to these, but it wasn't the goal, right? The goal here was to get people to sign up for OFB launch. As you guys know, 1,100 people, or 1,096 people signed up to OFB launch. And this post played a part in that. I can't remember how many people signed up off the back of this post, but I was focused on the outcome for this post was people signing up for OFB launch. So I didn't care about any of this. And if you don't think about the outcomes that you want from your individual posts, then you won't know how to measure the success, right? If you post something like this and got super low engagement, you could judge it as, that didn't go very well. But if it got the outcome that you wanted, then that's fine, right? I could create this, and let's say, it had hardly any likes, comments, or shares. I wouldn't care, because if it had 761 saves still, it worked, right? It did what I wanted to. Same here. If it had hardly any comments, let's say this was 83 instead of 839 likes, it really did have very little comment, or very few comments, and it had 0 saves, but it had 749 shares, then it did what I wanted it to do. But I only know that because I'm aware, when I'm creating this, I know what the outcome is that I'm hoping to achieve. And here's a similar example. And just so you guys are aware, I've never spoken with Emma about how she creates content or the purpose behind it. But regardless, the pattern is there, and she'll be conscious of it. What you will find is people who aren't great at creating content focus purely here. They will just teach. That's their safe zone. I will just add value and teach what I know, right? It'll be super specific often. They'll struggle to grow their accounts, and they'll just stay here. Every now and again, they'll put a call to action. But the best content creators and the people that you'll see like grow larger followings, they know that this is important too, right? Reaching more people, impacting more people, influencing more people, engaging their existing audience, even though it's not going to get them a client right away. Right? They're not scared to create content like this. And I'll explain, like I said a moment ago, I will teach you how to create, or what the key characteristics of this type of content is, in just a moment. So reach, teach, and ask is present in Emma Storey Gordon's content. And she's just an example. I know not all of you will know who she is. Here's another example of this kind of pattern being present. And it's James Smith PT. Again, I know many of you will know. Again, I've never spoke to James Smith PT about how he goes about creating content. But that doesn't mean the pattern isn't present, whether he is aware of it or not. So again, he uses, obviously different media types here, reels, and he often uses humor, in the majority of his content. So again, we have reach, how to become a millionaire. Obviously, this has nothing to do with what he actually helps people do, right? Which is, training and nutrition based. How to become a millionaire. It's just a kind of comedic. I actually didn't watch the video, but I'm going to guess he was just kind of mocking, people who create content like this in a serious manner. So this is for reach. I imagine it got plenty of shares because it was funny. Teach, again, an educational piece of content, pretty self-explanatory, as is the ask, right? Here's a call to action. So again, many of you right now will stick to your safe zone, which is educational content. Every now and again, doing a call to action, and you're missing this piece. So how do we create content that reaches more people? Here are the key kind of characteristics of that type of content. Number one is less specific. And this is something that people are terrified to do, right? If I if I was anal about having to be super specific, like a lot of you are taught, make sure it's specific, make sure it speaks to your niche, then this gets no engagement, right? Zero. It reaches no people, doesn't help me, doesn't help anybody else, because it would read, if you're a personal trainer or fitness professional who's remotely interesting, some people are going to dislike you. Who cares? Not everyone likes strong coffee, but those who do can't live without it. Personal trainers, be strong coffee, right? And it's like, how terrible is that as a piece of content? Don't be scared of being less specific, right? This being less specific means that it was shareable across different types of niches. So if I made this super specific to personal trainers and coaches, who are my audience, nobody would share it. Why would so I publish my content, all my audience are personal trainers and coaches. No personal trainer or coach would then share that with their audience, right? None, because it'd be super specific to personal trainers and coaches. And most personal trainers and coaches aren't trying to share content that is specific only to personal trainers and coaches, right? Your audience, like you guys listen to this and watching this trainer right now, are general population, right? So by making this less specific, it makes it far more likely that it will get shared by my audience initially. And once I get that, it's also more likely to get shared by their audience. So, my audience, personal trainers and coaches, are more likely to share this because it's less specific. And then the people they share it with are also, more likely to share it because it's still not specific. So anybody who is thinking about creating content, who wants to do something for themselves, be brave, step out of their comfort zone, put themselves out there, it speaks to all of that type of crowd, right? Which means it gets shared and shared and shared. And what you'll find is Instagram will reward you because I'm playing the game here, right? I'm being less specific. I'm not being hyper, anal about the niche that I serve. I understand them, don't get me wrong, and I know this is the kind of content that trainers and coaches will share, but I've not made the content specific for them, or I haven't called them out in the content, and that's enabled it to then be shared more and more by across different types of niches. So trainers and coaches share it, and then subsets of their audience will share it, and then their audience will share it. And once Instagram starts seeing this, because you're playing the game, keeping people on the platform, Instagram will reward you, right? They'll start putting this post in the discovery feed more, making sure that it's seen in more people's feed who do follow you. So more of your existing audience sees your content. So the big one is it being less specific, right? Which goes against a lot of what you teach. But if you look back on here, how to become a millionaire, this has nothing to do with what James Smith teaches. Being positive and optimistic isn't about ignoring problems. It's about looking for solutions and believing in your capacity to solve the problems. Emma Storey-Gordon's post here, it's not training, nutrition. Yeah, it's like personal development based, which is kind of a subsector maybe, or a secondary niche to her. But it's not her niche, right? It's more shareable. It's because it's less specific. Content like this is sometimes funny or inspirational. Like this is kind of a motivational, inspirational piece of content. It can be entertaining, heartwarming, opinion-based, like, you know, sharing an opinion on anything, or values-based as well. It's almost always non-technical, right? This is, you could say that this is valuable, like I'm encouraging people to go out there and be themselves, and be brave, but there's no technical or tactical, actionable information here. If I try to over-educate here, again, it wouldn't achieve its outcome, right? If it said, you know, if I restructured this piece of content and said, people will dislike you if you're interesting. Who cares? Here are 5 steps to put content out without fear of being judged. And then went into technical steps that you could take to remove the anxiety. Like, it'll just defeat its purpose. But that would be a natural thing for a lot of people to do because they want to teach and add value, right? But what we're thinking about here is kind of like not just first order thinking or first order consequences. Like, I don't just want to teach someone in this moment. I want it to get loads of shares so I have hundreds and thousands more moments or opportunities to teach hundreds more people, right? Or thousands for people, large accounts, tens of thousands, whatever. So it's not, I don't dive into the education. I imagine, obviously we can't see the caption, but I bet the caption was a sentence as well. The in the moment, it will have a momentary impact on people. Like, yeah, you're right. I'm going to put myself out there. But that motivation will probably be lost straight away when they have a scroll. Don't get me wrong, I'm trying to help here, but I'm also aware that I probably haven't given them enough to be truly impactful. Measured by shares, I've already said. And the goal is to build your influence, reach more people, and then those new people will see the more value-based content and sales-based content. So we still need to have our audience in mind and create content that they're likely to share, right? Doesn't mean we're going to call them out in the content, but I know loads of trainers and coaches are interested in personal development. I know a lot of them struggle with putting content out, so this does appeal to them. But I also know it's not hyper-specific, so they'll be more willing to share it too. Content that teaches more people is pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be specific, right? Obviously, I haven't called out personal trainers or coaches here, but it's about a specific type of, I'm educating on a specific topic that I know my audience need help with, right? So this is specific. So it's going to get less shares, as you can see, 0, because why would my audience, who are trainers and coaches, share this with their audience, who are people looking to train and eat better and lose weight, build muscle, whatever? They wouldn't. Like, you guys are not going to share this, right? Ever. And that's the problem a lot of you guys fall into, is that you create content that is super valuable, but it's never going to reach more people. It's insightful. Often it can be story-based, educational, technical, easy to digest, and actionable. That's the best form of educational content. It has a longer term impact on the people who consume it because they can actually do something with it, and you measure it by saves. The goal is to build your authority, teach the people who are following you, showcase your expertise so that they are more inclined to act on your call to actions. This content should still generate new clients, by the way. It should almost always include a call to action. So even if it's as simple as at the end of your caption, for coaching inquiries, click the link in my bio, and you should put a link to your bio, right? I'm a big believer that you could probably put a call to action in every single piece of content that you post. So this one's pretty self-explanatory. It's the one that you guys are all good at. To measure it, focus on saves. What I would also say as well is we create this content so that more people find this content, and you can deepen the bond with this content. And then content that requests action. Again, really self-explanatory, very rare, and it should be rarer. Very rare that I see many trainers and coaches just putting a post out there to go out and sell something or get email subscribers or whatever it may be, or group members, but it should form part of your content plan, if you like. Ask for action. That's what we're doing. Here's what I've got. Here's who it's for. Here's what to do next. Expect much lower engagement, but it's not what we're measuring it by anyway. We're going to measure it by the action that we want. So if you ask for sales, how many sales? If you ask for leads, how many leads? If you ask for inquiries, applications, email subscribers, whatever you ask for, that's what we're measuring. The goal is to get customers, email subscribers, applicants, and group members. And just to clarify that where all these things have a place, this makes sure that more people are engaging with our content. It reaches more people, or just more engagement for existing audience. This deepens the bond, shows that you have expertise, you can truly help, you are an expert, you're an authority, so that more people see this and more people take action, right? And more people are ready to take action because they've gone through this stuff. It's almost like a funnel, right? Here's the top of funnel. Here's where we deepen the bond and build that relationship and share our expertise. And here's where we, ask. So there's no set number of each content type that you should stick to. There is no one media type that you have to use. Just get really good at anything. They'll all work. However, with that said, if you're really good at every type of media, Instagram Reels or TikTok style videos would probably outperform the other types at the time of creating this training. Obviously, things move and change quickly. In your stories, so your 24-hour content, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, I think that is available on TikTok as well now at the time of recording this training. You can go through all three pretty much every single day. You can share your expertise. You can talk about stuff that, isn't necessarily related directly to training and coaching, whether it's behind the scenes of your life, you're traveling, that's the not less specific stuff, but it serves the purpose of still kind of deepening the bond and getting people talking about different things, sharing different side of you. So we've got, reach, teach, and, you could probably do a call to action most days in your stories as long as you're consistent with them. It could be, let's say you were talking about training and you talk about training often, create a training ebook, right? And it's very easy to say, oh, my client was working on this, this, and this. If you want to learn more about how I program to help my clients build more muscle, don't forget, I've got an ebook that you can get for free right now. The link is in my bio. And click to it. That could be a call to action one day. The next day, talk about a client, applications are here, click this link and you can apply or apply for a free consultation. So you could do that maybe not every day, or you could do it every day or every couple of days. In your feed, your content will mostly be reach and teach based content, not necessarily call to actions. We'll talk about that soon though. If you're posting daily, which all of you should be now, again, that's what we teach based on the time of this training, this time of recording this video. I'd aim for 4 or 5 teach posts per week and 2 to 3 reach posts per week. Some people, I think Emma Story Gordon, who I shared earlier, I think she's posting twice a day, which gives her more opportunities, right, to reach more people, more opportunities to teach. It's not something I expect of you guys yet. If you crush creating content, and once you kind of get a feel for this and that's the cadence that you're on, then fine. But if you're posting daily, 4 or 5 teach per week, and this will be your comfort zone or area of comfort, and then I want you to try and create 2 or 3 posts per week that are purely based around more eyeballs on your stuff. Sometimes, and again, this is when you can go ad hoc, you may have a drop in your engagement and think, you know what, I just need a period of trying to get more eyeballs on, and maybe you do 2 or 3 in a row reach posts per week. I do this sometimes, but as a basic structure, something like this is fine. Call to action based posts will come every couple of weeks. So maybe once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, or they will come in a burst, in like a launch type manner, which we'll cover in great detail when we go through the Get Clients Now portion of this course, and I give you ways to push for clients for a week, right? So what I need you guys to be doing at the minute is being super consistent with your content, because when it's time to really push for clients, we don't want that to be out of the blue, right? We want you to be reaching more people, teaching more people, helping more people. Then when we really push for clients, there are going to be people there who are game and ready to go. Some of your content will cover all bases, as I mentioned before. You'll get content that sometimes you create purely to teach, and it's just super educational. But maybe it's about a quite controversial topic that people are quite cultish about or quite opinionated on, and that not only does it really teach, but it ends up getting loads of saves and going viral because maybe it's quite or people deem it controversial. I'm not saying you have to try for that, but just be aware. Some content covers all bases, and of course there are some exceptions to what we've covered today as well, where you just get accounts that are just so good with the educational content, and they kind of do a good job at maybe pushing buttons sometimes and having opinions on stuff or just on hot topics that they get plenty of shares and grow rapidly as well, even though they're maybe not creating any content with the sole purpose of being shared. So hopefully this new way of looking at content will give you more purpose when you're creating. It'll give you an insight into kind of how you can switch gears when you need more momentum or more eyeballs on, or if you feel like, sometimes I've created content and I look at it and I'm like, you know what, I've just been publishing memes and silly content for a week. I really need to add some value. But I wouldn't even recognize that. I would just be like, oh my God, if I wasn't aware of what I've spoke to you about today, let's say I had a week of posting like really high engaging memes and silly reels and just inspirational content, and it's getting loads of engagement, my account's growing, and I'd be buzzing off it, right? Without realizing that it's not adding any value. It's just getting shared amongst people. I'm not taking advantage of it by then sharing my expertise and then pushing for clients. So hopefully now this awareness that you guys have of, the different types of content you need to cover, right? Like I said earlier, you guys, for the most part, will be fine here. You may not be consistent yet or be prolific yet, but when you do create content, I bet it's, around this area. The people who do really well on social media understand the need for this. Like, they see that it's not just a waste of time. A lot of very basic social media trainers and educators, they act like reaching more people is silly or bad, right? Or trying to grow a big following is a waste of time, and they're super focused on make everything really specific to your audience. You don't have to, right? Like, don't get me wrong, this teach stuff should be hyper specific. The programs that you create and the launches that you do should be really specific. But there's nothing stopping you from doing a couple of posts per week that just help you reach more people, which you can then help through this additional content. So here's your task for this week. I want you to create at least one teach-based post, which I'm sure you'll do anyway. And I also want you to create one reach-based post. We'll use them in this week's engagement thread. I've just remembered as well, I haven't mentioned when you get it wrong, right? Just so you guys are aware, these are successful examples. I don't know if more, but just as many examples where I've tried to create something that I thought would get, reach and more eyeballs on, and it didn't pan out. That's fine, right? It's just part of the process. I just assess it and think to myself, why was that the case? And learn from it. Same here, right? I'll create something that I think, wow, this is so valuable. People are really going to find it insightful. It's really going to help them. And then, this is the type of content where sometimes it just completely flops, right? Because even your existing audience don't acknowledge it, and saves are really low, and it isn't getting shares because it isn't really shareable content, and everything else just tanks. So I have plenty of examples of that as well. And plenty of examples where I've tried to sell and launch things and it hasn't gone to plan as well. So don't worry if your first attempt at creating a post that reaches more people flops, right? I would expect it to, right? Like, if you hit a home run, well played. But I'm not expecting that. It's just about trying it over and over again and learning from it, and kind of having to think about, what are my audience likely to share with their audience? And that comes from understanding your audience. So it does all come from understanding your audience and who you're trying to help, and who makes up your audience, and then creating something for your audience's audience, if that makes sense, or that they're likely to share. So my point being, you're not going to hit a home run all the time. You're going to have times where it doesn't quite work out. You just assess it and figure out why. Your task, should you choose to accept it, and you should, is create at least one teach and one reach-based post. And the reach-based post is probably what I'm going to ask for you in this week's engagement thread. And we have Get Clients Now week coming soon, which is where we're going to go out and really push for clients. and that's when we'll talk about call to action based content.